Ta-da! I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I hope that the weather where you are is much better than Montreal, because lately we are feeling like we're going backwards because it has been really cold. I initially had put everything winter away, all of my winter coats and stuff, and then now I had to actually get one out because it is really cold here in Montreal. But you know, that is not stopping life, and we're still going on. So today I want to have I'm making a bunch of videos today because I have some free time, and I know you guys send me a lot of questions, and I'm trying to catch up on those questions. And so today this is a video for dream work, and that's going to be able for me to answer a lot of those questions in this particular video, as I'm diving more and more into the dream realm and sharing with you. And as I mentioned, this is one of the program that I'm going to be making that will be available in a few months when I finish working on that. But that's going to be something that you're going to be able to work on in the comfort of your home, and of course have someone with me if you would like, and send me questions if you have to. So today on this episode on dream work, we're going to be talking about what are all of those different terms: lucid dreaming, astral projection, astral travel, all of the different terms. From my African perspective, we don't categorize things, we don't try to divide things too much, because it gives the illusion that it is separate. I think the advantage of categorizing is that you have a better idea what you're talking about by looking at different pieces, but the downside of that is that you may lose track of the bigger picture, of the greater ensemble when you look at different pieces, separate pieces. It's like looking at the body, and when you're focusing too much on the face or the hand, you're forgetting about the whole person, that it is your whole person that you're looking at. You know, when men are focusing on your breast, on your butt, stuff like that, you know, so they tend sometimes to forget that you are a whole person with, you know, a heart and all these different things. So it's kind of this analogy that I'm going there. To me, I didn't know all of those terms until maybe a few years ago, when I started really looking into what people were saying about it on YouTube and things like that, or on the internet in general. And you know, I know it was actually for me really confusing in the beginning, because I was thinking, you know, you watch all of these lucid dream videos, and then, you know, and you're just like, oh, this is what they meant by lucid dreaming. So lucid dreaming, if we take that for example, is just like, you know, being able to know that you're dreaming and controlling your dream, having some ability to actually clearly know that you are in your dream, and you are dreaming, and that you can control what you're doing, where you want to go, and things like that. So instead of me going in different categories, unless you want me to do that, because the questions were not specific, they were basically very large in saying, you know, can I speak on this particular topic? So if you want me to take each of these terms, I can pull them apart and dive into it. But rather than doing that, I'll just take the approach that I'll take when I think about the dream realm or dream work. First of all, as I mentioned, if this is an area that's really interesting to you, it is very important that you start taking the small steps into getting into that. Meaning that if you're somebody if you don't remember your dreams, if you have nightmares, if you are already having recurring dreams, you need to clear all that up before you want to decide to, you know, travel some other places and do some other things. You really need to clear that up. And I even say, after you clear that up, you really still need to do some introspection in terms of what if your system will believe, what scares you, just so that you don't trigger any manifestation of those fears or those things in your dreams when you're actually doing it in a conscious way, in a conscious plane. Secondly, if you don't, for those of you who don't know when they are dreaming, the next time you're in your dream, the next time you're dreaming, one of the things that you can do to help you know that you're in a dream is just like ask yourself, you know, try to jump. You know, if you are walking somewhere or you see a tree, try to jump on top of the tree or try to fly. Meaning that don't jump to fly. If you just jump from the ground up and see how high you can jump. Those are just small things that you'll see that you are in a dream. You have to pay attention sometimes to the colors. You have to pay attention sometimes to the things that are around you. But this is like really little things to help you kind of recognize and acknowledge that this is a dream. So you need to find what is going to work for you. I had a client whose way to know was she had a watch, and it was to basically switch the wrist of the watch every time she was dreaming, and to every time she would look and see that she was able to switch the color of the wristwatch, of the bracelet of the watch, she knew she was dreaming. So that was her little perk at the beginning to make sure that, you know, I actually know that I am dreaming, and actually, you know, can assert all the powers that I want to assert in my dreams. For other people, it was, you know, looking at having their little sister and seeing that the little sister remained in the dream as a child. It was having their little baby toy, different things like that. So it's just up to you to find a little niche. You find something that the moment you see in your dreams, you know you're dreaming. You know, if you try to jump and you see that you can jump as far as a tree, as high as a tree, you'll know that you're dreaming. That's just one way to say that you're conscious that you're dreaming. Now that once you're in your dream, now that you have that information, you're capable of, you know, looking around and investigating more things, and knowing that because you know you're dreaming, and because you're in the dream realm, you can create whatever you want to create. So there's really nothing to really be scared of or afraid of in that state. And this is a video really for beginners, so I'm not going to dive too deep, because also I don't want people to get too ahead of themselves, because sometimes you can encounter different things that, you know, I try to be as responsible as possible with the things that I'm sharing. So this is why I said before you even start thinking about doing all the different exercises, it's really, really important. I cannot stress it enough that you do some work with your subconscious. And if you would like me to do a video on that, I can do it as well. It's just an exercise that where you can go in your subconscious, kind of know what kind of association you already had in there, so that once they manifest in your dreams and things like that, you are able to know how to deal with them. Okay, and that's important, especially if I'm saying if you're already having nightmares, or if you cannot remember your dreams. Sometimes it may be because whatever you're going through in the dream world is so frightening that you need to block it out even while you're being conscious. So this is why in order for you to explore your dreams now, you're really going to have to take baby steps, and maybe while you're conscious, go into your subconscious to try to figure it out. You know, what are the things that you are actually afraid of, or what are the things that worry you so much that you anticipate to be so threatening that even in the dream state you block them. So that was one aspect to do, to understand that you are dreaming and that you have the ability to do a lot of different things. I know some of you are already communicating with your ancestors and all that stuff in your dreams, and you have to understand that the dream world and your awakened reality are one and the same. Meaning whatever information you get in your dreams, you may sometimes need to use them in your awake state. And the same way, whatever issues you're having while you are awake, you can go and explore those issues in your dream state. Especially if you're working with your ancestors, if you have questions, that's the time to ask them. If you see them in your dreams, I had so many different clients who say, you know, they talk to the ancestor gives them messages for other people or different things, and then they are having personal issues, and I say, you know, did you ask your ancestors about these issues? And they were just like, they never thought about it. You know, and I think it's because oftentimes you're always thinking about other people, but you need also to think about yourself. If you have access to your ancestors or to whatever beings you're working with in your dream state, then ask them to give you some guidance on these different issues, and then if they give you some solutions, try them out when you're awake. Assess them and try them out when you're awake. And this is really for people who have been working with their ancestor for a while and working with different entities for a long time, because there are also a lot of different caveats. You don't just go in your dream and start seeking out all kind of entities in there, because you need to know also how to use your discernment, not to end up being manipulated. Unless you don't mind that, then, you know, that's up for you. But it is something to take into consideration. And I think this video is going to be a little bit rambling, even though I'm trying to focus my thoughts to make sure I hit on the different points, which is going to be much more clear in my program. So once you know that you're dreaming and you're able to explore that dream, and if you have communication with other beings, you need to know that you need to integrate your sleeping state and your awakened state so that you really reap most of the benefits. You know, sometimes the dream is going to be a message that's very personal to you, or providing information that only you should know, that you're not supposed to be sharing with anyone else. Sometimes it may be information that you need to share with someone who's close to you, in your family, in your community, at work, or whatever. And sometimes it has to be for you to manage how to get that information through that person in a non-threatening way, if that's possible. So you can get all kinds of messages in your dreams. If you are already having dreams and you remember them and you write them down, you have a dream journal, or you have another way to record your dreams, you can start interpreting them yourself or seek assistance interpreting them. Just check out my video on 5 things to consider before you interpret your dreams. That will assist you in that little process, or at least get you started doing that. I think it's such a realm to explore, and don't ever feel that somebody can tell you not to explore. Your dreams are yours, meaning that no one can tell you don't do dream work, because whether you're conscious or not, you're already doing it every night. The only difference is that you don't remember that you're doing it. So it is something that everyone has a capability of doing. It is not something that makes anyone special. You don't need to be a certain blood group or anything like that. We all have that ability, and that ability is the ability to leave our body and explore a different state of being that is so much less restrictive. As you start with these baby steps, I just wanted to give you a couple of different things that you get to be able to do as you practice and become very versatile with that. You are able to travel to different countries. You are able sometimes to see places you're going to go in the future. You are able to go back in the past. Like, the dream realm is also a great time travel machine in the sense that you can go back to different memories, you can go back to different times, you can go fish back information that you had already stored within yourself. You can do past life regression through your dreams as well. You can ask your ancestors to take you places, to review things with you, to work with you, to explore different things. You can be learning in your dream state and doing that. I'm working on a book, and one of the things that really told me that this book, all of the ideas I had, I was thinking about how to organize them in the book, and how to factor that. And I had this amazing dream where I was actually writing the book. I was seeing myself write it, and I was seeing every line on the paper. And the book, I basically wrote the entire book in my dream. And so now when I dream, I haven't started doing that in the physical realm, just because I have other priorities in the moment, but at least I know I've done the work already at the spiritual energetical level, and I can tap into that and go back and read pages at a time. So I already know that when I'm going to be sitting down to start actually typing that book, all of the information is going to go pouring back, and I can I'm going to be able to go back to sleep, get that information, and basically we haven't technology yet, but if I could just print out what I already wrote, I'll just do that and have the book right there. But it gets to show you that a lot of these technology that we have around us are just different form of copying the technology that we have within ourselves. The cell phone is nothing less than a cheap copy of telepathy. Whether it is through texting or to talking to the phone, you're basically having your thought, trying to send them to someone else in an invisible manner without the person being next to you geographically. So that's exactly what telepathy is too. And so all of these different technology kind of mimic that, and it just should remind you of all of the abilities that you already have. So yeah, so one of the other thing is that you can do a lot of work in your dreams in order to support you in your awakened state. And I would even say one client was really interesting working with her, because she actually she wanted to lose some weight. So in her dream, she will go and work out, and then that will boost her up in the morning when she wakes up for her to go to the gym and get to work out and stay on schedule. So she was basically sinking in her dream state and her awakened state. And I think it was a wonderful way that worked for her to support you and to understand how symbiotic that relationship is, whether you're awake or asleep. Other aspects of dream work that are really fascinating, that, or you can use dream work to create intimacy as well. I remember there are traditions where before you get married, you're supposed to spend 3 nights with your husband without any sexual intimacy. And in some of the tradition, the man is supposed to be the first night, the man is supposed to be actually staying awake and watching the woman sleep all night, and then the second night the women will watch the man sleep all night. And this is supposed to create some form of intimacy between the two. And after the third night, then they can proceed with the wedding ceremony. And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing, because oftentimes when you are already in a relationship with somebody, and you have that kind of a kind of honeymoon feeling, and you wake up in the morning and they're just there watching you, smiling, or you end up like waking up before them and you watch them sleep. So it is a form of like creating intimacy as well. But what you can do is also dream together, and I think this is one of the most missed out. I have so many clients where they are going out with their boyfriend and things like that, and they were trying to increase their level of intimacy between the two of them, and they had never heard of this. And I think this is one of the most central way to really be intimate with somebody, when you're able to be together in the physical and be together in the spiritual as well. It just creates so much a stronger bond. And I've had the pleasure of doing that for many years with a wonderful man. So I know firsthand how strong that bond can be created. And I think also, if you are interested in dream work, it is something to explore at some point. And I think if more people develop that ability, practice that ability, I think they won't be so much scared about long distance relationship and all that stuff, because once you are able to connect to the astral realm, to the spiritual realm, you'll be always able to reach each other wherever you are. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. I've written many of my experiences, which I'm not quite yet ready to share them, even though he said I could do it. That may be something I will just keep for my client as the situation arises. But at least for the moment, I think eventually I would, but we'll see. But I've had the chance to really grow with someone and be able to be physically miles apart, and connect through our dreams, and do some wonderful things, and just and this is a person we are still connecting today, and so it's just an alternative. It's just for you to know that there are things that are out there, and that things like long distance relationship shouldn't scare you. If you have the ability to find your husband, your boyfriend, wherever he is, you wouldn't really be worried about the distance. And particularly for a man, if you're worried about your girlfriend being away, I think connecting through dream work is really something great to explore for you. Other things are, I've had the experience of meeting up, doing dream work with another person, and there are different levels to that. You could go and meet up in the astral realm, or meet up in the spirit world someplace. It could be meeting up at a place that you both know. And in that case, it's kind of like the two of your dreams are intersecting, meaning that you still remain the control to create whatever, and you kind of dominate the environment. You kind of are in control of the environment because it is still partially still your dream, and the other person as well. So you kind of like, it's like a merging it's like as if the two dreams kind of like overlapped for a second where you guys meet. Then you have other ways to invite someone else into your dream, and I will say this is really like advanced, because when you go with someone else, when you invite somebody else in your own dream, you still retain, it is still your own world, so you still retain some type of, you know, power in terms of like what you can create, what you don't want happening. If you don't like things, you can stop it right there. You can, you know, eject people, do whatever you want, because it is your dream. You are in charge and control. It is your own world, your own reality. However, when you are going into someone else's dream, even when you know this person for a long time, and you know this person and all these different things, there's still an ounce of unpredictiveness, in the sense of things that you are not going to be able to control, and you may not be able to get out as easily as you want to get out with your own dream. So I don't even think I'll upload this video.